Welcome back to another edition of Voice Visions Presents. On this episode, we speak with Yoel Perez. He is a fashion designer, website designer. He does photography, videography, and he does music as well. So we'll talk to him about fashion trends and, of course, his experience and love for art.
I'd always make a natural effort to dress just fresh, just trying to look good. But when it came to the music aspect, I really so when I started middle school, I finally got to, take electives and have more choice into what I was trying to learn. And I got into band pretty early on. And I realized that I had an innate ability to progress really quickly in music. And so I kept that on for a couple of years. I actually was in classical music from 6th to 9th grade. And I really enjoyed it. It was really one of the best years of my life. Being able to play in an orchestra was honestly a really beautiful experience. But as I was going into high school as well, I was, always into fashion. I was a sneakerhead. I was really into the latest drops, what everybody was wearing around. Hialeah and Miami, it's not like New York when it comes to the fashion scene. There's a lot of first generation individuals that live here. So that might not be the focus point in Miami, other than the main downtown areas, which I grew up in the suburbs. But I always gravitated toward those things. I always looked for communities that were into it. And it's always been a passion of mine. And now I've just been working on to basically giving as much as I can to my community within those aspects.
Do you find that there's a similarity between music and the fashion world? Do you see any kind of collaboration? Obviously, we've seen Kanye, collaborate his fashion and stuff with the music. But how about yourself? How do you see the two kind of blending in, especially now in 2024?
I mean, I think personally, you could find art in everything. During the pandemic, I did jujitsu for a couple months, and honestly, I was just surprised at the amount you could learn and the forms of positions you could get to submit somebody and chokeholds and all that. And I think it's just crazy when you get to that thinking part of your brain, the curiosity, you could really just run wild with the possibilities. So when it comes to music and art and fashion, I think there's way too many similarities compared to not. I mean, every artist has their own clothing brand as of now. And I think it's a really valuable revenue stream, as well as a very valuable way to express your artistry. I mean, people that are artists in general, I consider myself to be an artist. I think it's really hard to tie an artist down. And even when you ask somebody that they make music, you ask them what type of music you make, and they'll tell you something general like rap or classical music or rock, but they do the whole spectrum. So I think that ties into fashion as well. And people that do fashion, I feel like they can't just do shirts, they do everything. And I feel the same way.
I think it was a sweater or a shirt that you posted of Numb Apparel on your Instagram. You told me before it's still something that you're working on, but you said, I think November is a good time for that drop. Or when are you thinking about dropping your first stuff for Numb Apparel?
So I started working on it in November, actually, and hopefully I could get it by November.
Okay.
I had a couple of deadlines, but this is really my first release, really a first for a lot of things. And I'm just getting into the groundworks of what it really means to get into the industry. I had some deadlines for the beginning of the year when I had certain sketches and designs made, when I would get into production with them. Once you get into it, though, it's kind of like when you start working on your own car and you start noticing, all I had to do is just a little oil changer here and there. And then you notice you got to learn combustion mechanics or some crazy stuff. Things start developing into other things. And I've learned that also with website design. Things get really complicated really quickly. So I'm definitely trying to get it up and running by this year, at least one product online. Okay. And by next year, hopefully I could get 2 or 3 products and just start building from there.
How do you deal with adversity, especially with fashion or music? When you kind of hit a roadblock, what do you do? How do you do with that process?
For sure. Well, I feel like mainly I put myself in the roadblocks just because of just natural perfectionism. You get to one roadblock
Mhm.
and you think, how can I make this as perfect as possible? I can't just skip this. So then, you fall into your
Mm.
rabbit holes, you look at your YouTubes, you get some books, you start reading. But definitely I think creativity and curiosity can really make you when it comes to making those roadblocks define you. And I feel like roadblocks are really
Mm.
the perfect situation to really define you because you're not really the first person that lands into these roadblocks. And the way that you go around these roadblocks really could just develop your own signature.
One big question we have summer coming up. Is there any trends that that you think will pick up in the summer that you predict that will pick up in the summer? And then I guess the other side of that is there a trend right now that you absolutely hate in fashion?
So fashion that I think is going to blow up, I don't really have um, something on the top of my head. Though one trend that I really hate is just a trend that I really loved before was fast fashion.
Okay.
Reason was like before
Okay.
I was like a broke high schooler, broke college kid. I see like what some designers making, and I'm like, oh, I love that, but I can't get that, so I'll go to like H&M or something. But now getting into the industry, kind of realizing just how much pollution, just how many things are getting reproduced over and
Mm.
over and over again. It just gives me some some headspace as to like where all of this is going. And obviously it's going to landfills, and obviously it's going to places where they shouldn't go. And it's just making me think
Mm.
about what exactly am I buying? How long am I buying it for? I've also moved out of my parents' house a couple years now, and
Congrats.
that has made me. Thank you. That has made me lower the space I have in my closet for things I want to buy, and because like I'm a very fashionable person, I like to buy a lot of things. But once I got into a really limited closet space, I'm like, let me really get into something I love, and the price
Hmm.
might not be too low, but it won't be too high, but I know I'll keep it for years, and I'll do great for the environment. So fast fashion, big no. In terms of long-term trends, I do see many people
Hmm.
going into the fashion industry, and many industries, but going in a more entrepreneurial aspect. So I feel like a lot of people are making their own companies as opposed to trying to get the degree and trying to get into a big company. I feel like that's a really positive move forward. I feel like people that move within their own companies that they build themselves, they move a lot quicker than big companies. It also gives power to
Hmm.
the community and gives power to yourself to give you the freedom to make the decisions that are right, and you don't have to go through that company politics. So I think it's really beautiful seeing everybody come up with their own ideas and bring each other, inspire each other. I think the fashion industry is in a big boom right now, and it's not from the big labels. And I can see that in every industry. It's really groundbreaking.
So as we're wrapping things up here, is there any shout outs that you like to give? Maybe other products or other, people you've worked with music wise or fashion wise? Is there any shout outs you like to give?
For sure. I like to shout out everybody that has given me the opportunity to write for them in my blog. I have a blog that's currently down right now, but I will be giving updates to it opening up. I'm doing a lot of renovations on the website, but the website is growordie.net. That's growordie.net.
Okay.
And you can follow me at ypoppyxo on all social medias. You could also follow Grow or Die Media, and you could follow Num Design Official. Those are my social medias for my brands that I'm picking up right now. And I think that I have a really good community in Miami that's very supportive. And I think we're all going to grow up together and really develop each other. And that's really my main goal.